Good morning and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Emily Cobuchel and I am a member of the Build Up editorial team. Build Up is Europe's largest international portal for energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. It is a unique community that provides the opportunity to discuss, contribute, and collaborate with other experts in this field. Build Up aims to bring together stakeholders working in the building and construction sector to reap the collective intelligence about energy reduction in buildings by encouraging knowledge exchange. Our editorial work is organized around the topic of the month, which allows us to dig deeper into specific themes. Each month, several items are produced by Build Up, such as overview and technical articles and written interviews, but that's not all. Build Up also offers the opportunity to host webinars on topics related to energy efficiency and renewable energy in buildings. More recently, Build Up has also opened its doors to distinguished experts in the field to share their knowledge in front of our cameras in our Build Up Expert Talks. The Build Up portal shares daily the most relevant contents and events in the field, but we also participate actively in many European events around the year, such as EPP Center and REBA conferences, H2020 Interreg and Cost Action events, Covenant of Mayors, USEF, and more, always with the aim of further disseminating their results and helping to create high-quality media content. The Build Up portal is updated daily, reaching around 120 new items each month, including news, events, publications, articles, and video content. But Build Up is not only us. Build Up is a community, and we invite you to be a part of it. By becoming a member, you can contribute by uploading your own content and promoting your news, events, case studies, reports, and more. By contributing content, Build Up will help you to reach a broader audience through our online portal, our social media channels, and our monthly newsletter. Visit us at our brand new portal, which is now at build-up.ec.europa.eu to find out more. It is a pleasure for Build Up to host today's webinar entitled Digital Tools for Workflow Management, brought to you by the COGITO project. This webinar is part of an ongoing series called Practical Tools for the Construction Sector in Digital Twin. The aim of the series is to present COGITO Digital Construction 4.0 Toolbox and gather important feedback from the audience. In today's agenda, following this introduction from Build Up, we will start with an overview of the COGITO project from Dr. Frédéric Bosché, Reader in Construction Informatics in the School of Engineering at the University of Edinburgh. The presentation will cover the project objectives and the COGITO tools in a nutshell, and it will be followed by a brief Q&A. Following the first presentation and Q&A, we'll jump straight into the main part of today's agenda, which is focused on digital tools for workflow management. There will be a number of demonstration videos accompanying the presentation. We will start by hearing from Damiano Falcioni, Senior Researcher at POC AG, who will present the Process Modeling and Simulation Toolkit. This will be followed by Martin Straka, Technical Manager at Novatech Group, who will present the Work Order Definition and Monitoring Tool. Following Martin, we'll hear from Dr. Panagotis Moraitis, Project Manager at Q Technologies, who will discuss the Service Level Agreement Manager and Blockchain and Smart Contract Platform. Lastly, we'll hear again from Martin Straka, who will present the Work Order Execution Assistance Tool. Following the final presentation, we'll have a Q&A on the Workflow Management Tools demonstration. And finally, we will round off today's session with an interactive poll via Slido and a brief wrap-up by Build Up. We invite all audience members to send us questions through the GoToWebinar platform that can be answered during the Q&A sessions. Please specify which presenter your question is for, or if it is for all speakers. You'll be able to find the webinar recording on the Build Up portal and on our YouTube channel in the coming days, together with the presentation slides. Now we will move directly to our first speaker, Dr. Frédéric Bosché. Let me pass you the controls, and I'll give you your slides as well.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I am Frédéric Bosché from the University of Edinburgh, as introduced, and I will give you a short overview of the COGITO project and the solution we developed. Just to give you a quick overview of what the consortium is. The consortium is made up of 13 partners. About 6 of them are technology-related companies, 4 demo universities, and 3 of them at the bottom here are industry practitioners who provide pilot sites and actually industrial insight into the development of the tools. Very importantly, I should say that when you talk about digital twinning, a lot of research and development at the moment tends to be focused around the operational phase of assets, of things, actually, just even outside the built environment. But our project is focused on the construction phase, that is the, between the design and the operation. And this is very important to really distinguish this effort to other ones. So COGITO is, we call it Construction 4.0. The idea is to develop a 4.0 methodology that encompasses the following. At the input of our solution is data that comes in the form of ASPLAN data, as you can see at the bottom. So the design 3D geometry, but also some scheduling and costing data, or at least initialized ones. And then during construction, we capture the reality of what happens on the construction site, and we use this to inform the monitoring and then the control decisions. All this information is integrated in the digital twin platform, and this integrated data then enables a range of applications that we group into 4 types of applications. The one group is related to health and safety, and here we aim to provide dynamic safety planning and monitoring. Another group is related to quality control. Here we digitalize and automate visual and geometry quality control. And at the lower left, you see around workflow management. So this is about securing the workflow planning and automating the monitoring of progress on site and the workflow overall. And finally, at the bottom right corner, we are developing a couple of applications that provide means to visualize the information in the digital twin platform and also interact with it and make some decisions. To go a bit slightly more detail, as you can see at the heart of our solution is the digital twin platform. And the solutions we develop can be grouped into, let's say, can be regrouped in 3 ways. The first way is we develop solutions that are applied during the planning phase. So just before construction actually starts. Here, using the planning data, which comes in the form of an ASPLAN 4D beam model, we plan safety measures. So we essentially process the beam model to generate what we call a safe 4D beam. We have, I should say first on the right-hand side here, quality control related application with the aim of planning all the quality control that will need to be conducted during the delivery. And all this information is integrated into some applications for planning the workflow and the work orders in detail. Now, once the planning phase is finished and we finally start construction, then we similarly have a range of applications that aim this time at monitoring safety during construction, monitoring quality control, that is essentially implementing all the quality control tasks that have been planned during the planning phase. And all this information alongside IoT data, typically location data captured in real time on the construction site, is used to monitor the production and the progress of the construction site and make decisions as to revisit the workflow, optimize it in different ways, etc. And as mentioned earlier, we have also some applications that enable the project management team to interact with all this data. We have a tool for off-site visualization that is browser-based interaction tool to explore the data in the digital twin platform, and then on-site augmented reality-based application enabling people to actually see the data in situ, in context. In the presentations that you will see after me, the focus today is on the production side of things. So you will hear about how we plan production and then how we monitor and control production. Other webinars have been presented related to quality control, safety, and offsite, on-site. Please get in touch if you'd like to see those. You may have missed them. The tools that will be presented, and the earlier presenter did hint at this, are the modeling and simulation tool, or PMS, which is a desktop-based application that enables the project management team to define a very detailed workflow model from the high-level schedule that comes in. Sorry. And this is a solution developed by Bosch and the University of Edinburgh. Then we have the work order definition monitoring tool developed by Novitec, which is a web-based application that essentially takes the detailed workflow and enables the user to create work orders that are secured using blockchain technology, and I'll touch on this in the next slide. And later on, the same tool is used, this tool here, to monitor the progression of the delivery of those work orders. As I said, in combination with WARDM, we have this service level agreement manager and blockchain smart contract technologies that are there to secure the work orders so that progression and completion of work orders is secure and cannot be hijacked in a way or played with and cheated. Novitec also develops another sister application, the Work Order Execution Assistant tool, WEA, which is a mobile app that also runs on augmented reality goggles that is there to inform workers on site about the work orders allocated to them and enables them to report progress on them, and also gives them a range of other facilities in terms of taking pictures, calling somebody to get advice, etc. You'll hear more about this. Now, before my colleagues talk about their tools on production, I would like to spend a few more minutes just talk about the digital twin platform itself, because this is at the heart of our solution, and I think it's good to understand a little bit what it is and what it does. What is very interesting in the case of developing a digital twin platform for this context is that it must be able to support information that comes from various domains and integrates all this information. The domains that need to be covered include the product-related domains, so here we talk about building or infrastructure assets, but also process-related information like the schedules, the workflows, the resources that we allocate to the tasks and the work orders. Reality capture data, so when we capture information on sites, whether it's visual data, so 2D or 3D data, or whether it's location data through IoT technology, we need to capture all this and integrate it in our digital twin platform. And finally, we have applications related, so the use cases we use the data for. And as mentioned earlier, we have production-related use cases, health and safety, and quality control. So to create the data repository, we tried not to reinvent the wheel as much as possible and take a linked data approach where we create an ontology that is made up currently of 7 modules. One for essentially that replicates the domains I've just mentioned: facility, workflow resources, IoT, location, quality, safety. And we try to reuse as much as possible. Oh, sorry, I meant to use. Oh, I thought I had another slide. Apology. We try to use as much as possible existing ontologies out there so that our solution can be easily integrated with people working specifically in, let's say, IoT's domain, or people working at the design phase. For example, we use the IFC ontology to model building or infrastructure asset data. If you want to know more about the ontology, this is the link to our ontology. This is an open ontology. It's still being updated as we progress, but it has stabilized quite well recently. So once we have the ontology ready, we can create knowledge graphs with all the data we ingest in the digital twin platform. And the knowledge graph essentially reflects the integration of all these data. So you can see on the left-hand side a screenshot of a knowledge graph for one project. And then with this knowledge graph, we are then able to make smart queries of the ontology. For example, here we have a simple one, relatively simple, where we have a building and we ask the DTP to give us the state of the building at a certain date during the delivery of the project, so related to the 4D model. So that's me. I hope the introduction was useful to you, and I will now leave my colleague Damiano Paccioni to talk to you about the PMS toolkit.
Thank you, Frédéric. I don't know if we should ask for the question and answer session, or shall I start, Emily?
Yeah, I could take a question. If anybody has a question, that's fine, or I can take them at the end as well.
Yes, we're early on, so we don't have too many questions, but we can ask one, I think, that is quite a nice one. Also, if there's other people from other projects attending, and one is, do you have any lessons learned so far from the project that you think are relevant to share with other similar or even not similar projects?
Yeah, I have lots of lessons learned for sure. In terms of, I mean, I think it's not just us as the research team. I think it's been very interesting to work with the industry partners to make this solution work and being, deployable in practice. So we learned a lot about how to prepare the design model. So we define our own exchange information requirements, for example, in order to be able to use a model easily into the digital twin platform to support these construction-related use cases. And actually, we're still learning on how to make this as efficient as possible. But certainly, like the quality of the input data is very important. People say garbage in, garbage out. And so certainly we learned a lot around that aspect, for example.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you. So I think we'll move straight on to the next presenter, Damiano. And of course, we remind the audience that you're more than welcome to send us questions, because we will have a final Q&A at the end. So you can use there's a question function on the GoToWebinar platform. So please send us your questions. Okay, Damiano, you have the controls, so go ahead.
Thank you very much. So as previously introduced, I'm Damiano Falcioni from BOCAG, and I will give you an overview of the PMS toolkit of the COGITO project. Sorry. So the PMS is a modeling environment that can be used to first reason collaboratively on the use case requirements. Then when an initial schedule is defined, it is used to enrich each activity with specific subprocess containing quality control and safety activities, the needed resources and BIM elements. And this enriched schedule can then be optimized, identifying the tasks that can run in parallel, the optimal number of resources that can be allocated, also bottleneck resources, and the start and end time flexibility for each task. And finally, it allows to collaboratively validate the final schedule before the effective execution in the construction site. I may ask to start the video, please. Now we will see a brief demo of the PMS toolkit. Yep, thank you. I was muted. The first functionality is the import of the schedule from the digital twin platform, and this functionality are accessible from the COGITO menu of the modeling environment. So the user is first asked to provide the credential for the COGITO authentication system, and after the login, the system will show the COGITO project for which the user is allowed. We select in this case the school sample and the import is started, and at the end this BPMN model representing the original schedule is generated with all the tasks and their dependency. And for each activity we can see the details of the schedule, like the start and end time. We don't see the resources, but we have the BIM element involved in the construction activity. And as soon as we import the schedule, we can enrich it with more detailed activity and resources. And for doing this, the platform already contains a set of resources customized for the specific use case in terms of quantity available and cost per hour. Like in this case, we see, for example, that there are 10 workers available. Additionally, we have a set of templates specifying for each generic activity the detailed task with the needed resources. Like in this case, we see that the template for piling caps construction is composed first by a safety barrier installation task, then by the construction task where the concrete pump and the worker are required, followed by task for visual quality control, geometric quality control, and removal of the safety barriers. And what we have to do now is to select for each activity of the original schedule the most appropriate template and reference it as a sub-process in BPMN. And in this case, for the piling caps activity, we select the previously shown template. And what we have to do we do this for all the activity of the original schedule. And we skip this part for speed reason. And yeah, as soon as we completed, we can proceed with the next part. That is about the optimization. So the optimization run in order to find a better schedule alternative. So actually the integration with the service was still not finished in this video, so we'll see some manual steps that are not needed currently, like here the export of the schedule, the execution of the script manually, and then the import of the optimization result. This is all integrated now. And at the end, the optimization will return the identified alternative schedule, that are 2 in this case, and the new model will be created for each schedule. And such model contains the original activity configured by the optimized schedule, and also additional note like a description of the result, that in this case is the shortest schedule with available resources, and the bottleneck resources. Also, a Gantt chart of the schedule is provided in order to better visually see the difference with other schedule. Additionally, there are also information for each activity, like the late start and end time, early start and end time, and if the activity is critical or not. That is also visible from the red circle near each activity box. And now we can go to see also the other result, that in this case is the cheapest schedule. And also here we can see that we have the concrete pump and the crane operator that are critical resources. So now what we would like to see is what happens if we double such critical resources. So we go in the resource of the concrete pump resource and double the available quantity, and the same for the crane operator. And then we run the optimization again. And yeah, we skip this part for also speed reasons. And at the end, we'll see that the optimization return an alternative schedule in this case. And the schedule, there are no bottleneck resources. And checking the Gantt for this case, we see that now a lot of activity are scheduled in parallel. And this reduced drastically the total duration of the schedule. So now we are ready to decide which final schedule we want to use, and then we can export it to the digital twin platform for later processing and execution by the other COGITO tools. Again, we have to log in first to the COGITO platform for this feature, and then select the project where we want to upload the rich schedule and the model to upload. And after the upload, what we receive is the ID of the created collection in the COGITO Digital Platform, and just for testing purpose, we can quickly access the Digital Twin Platform to check if this is so opening the section related to the PMS application and the endpoint for the upload of the schedule. And here we can see that the new collection has been created containing our uploaded JSON file of the model. So one last feature then that I would like to introduce is the validation of the reached schedule through a collaborative walkthrough using a design thinking approach. And for this demo, we use another use case about the construction process in a railway track, where each original activity, also in this case, is reached, like here the lifting track into position is split in placement of safety barrier first, followed by the lifting of each track section in sequence, where the crane operator and the worker are used. And we can now go through the schedule, execute it, and generate also a report for the execution log. And this functionality basically guides us on the activities that we can start, and after the selection we get instruction on how to perform such activity, including the planned start and end time, the resources that have to be used, and all we will and now we use this information to recreate the scenario, positioning the needed resource of a printing of the construction site, where the resources are represented as paper figure with unique markers that are recognized by a camera. And this camera is here used to take a snapshot then of the current scene in form of a model containing the identified resources. And like in this case, and now we can set the activity as complete, and also report is supposed duration, and then we can proceed with the next activity schedule. And in this case, for example, we have the crane, the operator, and the worker as resources. So we can go back in our table. We remove the previous worker from the table and place the new resources for the specific railway section. And when completed, take a new screenshot of the scene, like we have done previously. So we then proceed that way, perform this process until the process terminates, and that yeah, we can skip for now. And at the end, and after some refinement, this is what we obtain. So the idea is to have a collection of all the collected scenes of our use case that in sequence form a story. And this walkthrough can then be used to collaboratively for reasoning over the requirements and also to validate the needed resources, but also for documentation purposes of the use case. So thank you everyone for the attendance. And I think I can proceed with the next slide and give the floor to Martin for the next next tool. Thank you.
Thank you, Damiano. Yes, let's move to Martin. One moment, let me give you the controls here. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So hi everyone. Let me start with the description of the WODM component in a nutshell. So the WODM, which is also known as the work order definition and monitoring tool, is generally a tool that provides the following services. A service capable of creating work processes executable by on-site workers that are based on the workflows generated by the PMS that you've seen previously after being imported from the digital twin platform. Then a service that features a service with features to assign the imported human or equipment resources to the specific tasks. Then there's a service to define service level agreements or SLAs and connect these SLAs to the specific tasks and KPIs received from the SLAM platform. And then there's a service allowing to execute the created work orders and follow the changes within their process models in the PMS. Now, basically, aside from the backend solution, the WODM also contains a frontend with its own UI, which provides features such as assignment of the important resources to specific tasks based on their type, group, and available quantity. Then there is definition of the SLAs with their specific KPIs, conditions, and tasks. The overview of the worker progress of specific tasks and work orders. And then there's reporting tools for the specific work order results and a showcase of the multimedia captured during the execution. So, sorry. Now we should play the first video of the bottom showcase.
Yes, one moment here. So you're muted, Martin, so if you want to speak over, just unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you. So the first thing you're going to do as a manager in Vodom is use the general identity provider account information to log in. After logging in and selecting a project, you can check that the project workflow has been updated based on the input from the digital twin platform. Then you can check the list of all tasks imported with the workflow, with each task displaying the required resources and their types. There is also a list of all resources with their ID tags if defined, and they're generally divided into two types: human resources and equipment. Now, when selecting a task, we can specify its details. So we can, or we can directly go to the resources section where we can choose the resources we wish to assign. After doing so, we need to connect the tasks together to create a so-called task group, which can be then used to create a work order. After we specify the information in the work order, we can save it and check it in the list of all the work orders. We can see that the planned start and end times, but the actual times will be set during the execution, which will be shown in the following parts of the presentation.
Thank you, Martin. Okay, I think we can go to our next speaker. We have Dr. Panagotis Moraitis.
Yes, that's correct. Hi, I'm Moritz Panagotis from COGITO Technologies, and I'm here to present the blockchain technology and how this is integrated in the COGITO project. So, do I have the control of the presentation or not? Sorry for that.
You just click once and then you can move forward and backward.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I got it now. So the blockchain technology at its core, it's a record-keeping tool which offers a decentralized peer-to-peer system of information exchange and storage. So in simple terms, it is an accounting system where the record of transactions, the digital ledger, instead of being centrally stored, is distributed among a network of computers and servers, which are called nodes. On the other hand, smart contracts, a complementary technology, are a technological innovation associated with the blockchain technology. And it is a piece of self-executing computer algorithm that automatically runs when predetermined conditions are met. So they're typically used to automate, verify, and enforce the execution of a contractual agreement, such as a service level agreement or a work order, without the involvement of an intermediary party most of the times. So the COGITO project will be benefited by the advantages of both the blockchain technology and the smart contracts in terms of security and data governance, in order first to tight seal the data agreements against any malicious interference, and second to eliminate the need for a centralized authority to manage and control the data. Therefore, here we create a tool to bundle blockchain technology and smart contracts functionality in a way that will enhance transparency and provide the trusted means to verify the task completion of the COGITO project. This tool will act as a single source of truth, and it will be responsible to reduce the trust gap between the involved stakeholders in a secure and reliable way. So it has the potential to reduce the risk of a potential conflict between the involved stakeholders. And additionally, it can significantly reduce the time that is currently needed to complete the administrative tasks. Our approach starts from a service that allows users to translate digital work orders from the web tool to a smart contract ready service level agreement. The smart contracts are digital agreements between the various stakeholders that are involved in a specific task. And these stakeholders agree first on a number of measurable and quantifiable KPIs that are carefully selected in order to cover all the aspects of the construction task. So we have the bundle of stakeholders, tasks, and KPIs, and then we translate that into a smart contract and we deploy that on the blockchain platform. Then, once it is uploaded, deployed, and running, the progress of its task is monitored and recorded through the dedicated KPIs that have been previously selected, and they're entered into the blockchain either through the wallet tool or the web app. This solution is empowered by cryptographic keys and a design tolerance engine that makes it almost impossible to maliciously interfere or hack any data stored on the chain. So in a nutshell, the blockchain smart contract platform is the secure environment that all the smart contracts are deployed and where all the updated KPIs are stored. So far, we have managed to develop the fully operational service alongside with the dedicated APIs endpoints. This includes the final list of predefined, measurable, and quantifiable KPIs that will be available to the web user. All the necessary information to reliably develop a smart contract solution has been organized in the dedicated data model that bundles together those stakeholders, tasks, and KPIs and turns them into machine readable and smart contract ready service level agreements. And we have the final version of the SLA manager, the subcomponent responsible for organizing and providing the SLA's KPIs to the web tool. And we have the final version of the blockchain smart contract platform, the component responsible for running the blockchain itself, offering a highly secure and tamper-proof system to store data and run the smart contracts. So this means that not only storing the updated KPI values, but also offer a mechanism that calculates the overall progress of its task and significantly reduce the administrative cost of task completion and verification. So that's me. Thank you very much. Martin, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Maria. Okay, so first we are going to play the second video showcasing the functionalities of the WADM.
Okay. Here we go. And you're muted again, so just unmute yourself, okay?
Okay, thank you. First we see that the WADM contains the list of all the KPIs imported from the SLAM component. Now we can try and create a new SLA. For the SLA to be accepted, we need to specify the tasks, parties, and resources, as well as the start and end date, and to create the service level objectives, or the SLOs. So basically the SLO contains the specific KPI, its rule, and the percentage value. In this demonstration, we created two separate SLOs that can be seen. So after all is done, we can save the SLA and publish it to the SLAM platform for securing. And the incoming message informs us that the SLA has been successfully secured and is now safely stored on the blockchain. Okay, so now we should go back to the presentation.
Here we go.
Thank you. Okay, so the WOA is another component, which is also known as the Work Order Execution Assistance Tool. And it is an on-site smart device application for the execution of the predefined work orders. The main users are the workers, surveyors and foremen, and other personnel working directly on site. This application is available for virtually all the Android devices and also devices with universal Windows platform, but it is mainly optimized for the smart classes RealWare HMT1. Its main purpose is to guide the users to execute and report the assigned task in work orders and provide these results to the managers in the bottom, including any captured pictures, voice recordings, and videos. Now I'm going to show you the video showcasing the features in the WoW app. Okay, so after opening the application, you can log in with your Cogito identity provider account. Since it's a smart device application, you can use your camera to scan the QR code with your account details to speed up the process. And after logging in and selecting the project, you can choose the work order from the list of the work orders assigned specifically to you. Clicking on the details, you can see the detailed information about the work order. After selection, you can begin the execution. The quick pop-up informs you about the upcoming tasks at your current progress, and you can start the task. And since the application is mainly targeting to the smart glasses, the interface is projected on the live camera feed. Clicking on a menu icon, you can see the various tools that can help you with the execution. For instance, you are able to call any of your available contacts, be it worker or managers, and they can see your camera feed and guide you in your work. You can also see the task list and check the task details at any time. Okay, so let's say that the task execution is finished now and you are ready to end the task. You can leave an optional task result for the managers if needed. And then you select the result of the task, whether it was a success, failure, or if there's any problem stopping you from the execution. After finishing the one and only task, the work order is automatically finished. And basically, so is the WoW part of the presentation. And we'll go back to the bottom. Okay, so right off the bat, you can see that the manager is well aware of the WoA task result as it is displayed in the bottom dashboard. The key part here is that the actual start and end times were recorded and sent along with the success response. Opening the specific work order shows you more details. And if you want to see a more comprehensive report, you can open it and check all the available information. So in this report, the planned duration is calculated from the planned times as well as the actual durations from the actual times. Below, you can also see the executed tasks with their status and the result text. And the KPIs that you selected from the SLA are automatically calculated and the values are displayed here. And this concludes the demonstration of the work execution and reporting.
Okay, you have the controls again.
So yeah, that's all from my part. So thank you very much, and I'll gladly answer any questions.
Okay, excuse me. Yes, so we'll move to a Q&A session now. This will be for all the speakers that were involved today, so not just Martin. So you're welcome to turn on your cameras and unmute yourselves. So we just have a few questions from the audience that I've taken note of here. So first of all, this was not directed to anyone in particular, but who can we contact or where can we find more information about the project, especially when the tools will be ready to implement? slide. Maybe Frédéric?
Yes, so we are in the process of validating our tool sets on our tool sites in Germany and in Spain. So we're still finalizing and validating them, at which point certainly we plan to enable people to certainly see what can be done and share the tools when possible. And that will most likely be done through the project website. So which I suppose the link is there, yeah, cogito-project.eu. It's on the slide that is on the screen. So information.
Yes, and you have social media as well, which
absolutely, yes. At least Twitter and LinkedIn and yeah.
Good, thank you, thank you. So another general question as well to anyone who wants to answer. Will there be additional services to support the implementation of the tools?
I'm not sure what the question means actually. Additional services. I mean, the partners are developing the tools. There is an intention to then look at exploiting those solutions individually or as bundles. And therefore, if some people are interested in implementing some in other contexts, then they can be in touch, and certainly there will be efforts to explore the feasibility of doing that. At which point, then there will be arrangements. So that's, I don't know if my colleagues want to add anything, but that would be my answer.
Okay. Yes. Yes, it was a question sent in, so I think maybe it refers also possibly to sort of future exploitation of the tools and what additional services can be developed and can come out from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good. Okay, we have just a couple more questions. We have one for Dr. Panagotis. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. This is quite a broad question. What do you think the future of blockchain-inserted smart contracts is in the net zero transition? And maybe you have some examples.
Well, this is a really big topic, but that's actually a good question. At the moment, we're dealing with the construction industry, and this is a really fine way to have a single source of truth and to have a record-keeping tool approved by everyone. So in the net zero, I don't know if it's specifically for the net zero transition, but I think that especially it applies also for construction industry, but every section of our civilization, that it's kind of a radical tool, and it's a different way that we record things. So I think that what needs to be done right now is to take it slow, try to find the right niche, the right implementation form, try to integrate as smooth as possible all the capabilities of the blockchain technology, and both in the construction, but in every other section, I think that it will provide the right means for the net transition.
I can add something if you want to use this. I think.
Yeah, sure.
One thing possibly that would be good to add is when it comes to net zero, there are at least one of the issues, but there might be others. The one that comes to mind is having the traceability of the avoided carbon in materials and buildings, for example. And blockchain can be a way to provide some guarantee of the supply chain, from the supply chain as to where the carbon is coming from, and maybe offset it, for example, so how the carbon is offset, because I think there's a lot of controversy, for example, at the moment, whether we are offsetting many carbons with the same forests, for example, around the world. So I think this is one area, for example, where maybe blockchain can provide some benefits when it comes to net zero, so in terms of supply chain.
Okay, and then I think we just had one final question as well, which is quite general. Can the tools that have been demonstrated today be adapted to be used in other industries? And if so,
I mean, my answer Well, it depends what we mean by industries. We developed the tool for the, broadly for the construction industry. As I said, I was showing earlier, the digital twin platform at the heart of this is a module for managing building or infrastructure related data, and all the other data is somewhat integrated through that, not through, but using that particular module as a core. So obviously the solution is geared towards the construction sector. However, if you look at the construction sector, we actually did our initial pre-validation kind of work and development using buildings examples, while our validation work is actually done in infrastructure context by using railway as a particular example. And one of the companies that is a part of the project, they have actually more focus on a road related context. So I certainly think that the solution within the construction industry is more or less, is easily applicable either in building, railway, road, other sectors like this, but obviously there would need to be some adjustments about some aspects because we are trying to make it more specifically at the moment for railway. So for example, things that are specific to railway will be, the naming of the type of objects we deal with, things like that. So we need to use standards for this, and we've implemented them specifically for railway. If we were to go to roads, then we would need to look into creating the support mechanism for that. But the whole infrastructure itself would apply, almost readily across those subdomains.
Very nice, thank you. Yes.
I should say some of the tools within the solution, Daviano might say, or Martin, are also used and applied in actually other sectors outside construction. But they are themselves, committed to this project and developing the tools specifically for use in that context. There's certainly some of the tools, and I notice as well, their solutions are not made specifically to work in construction, but we integrate it in that.
Absolutely, yes. So those were all of the questions that I had for now. I don't know if any of the speakers want to add any final comments. You're welcome to now. If not, we're going to go to a quick poll that we have. So we invite the audience to participate. You can either join by going to slido.com and using the code shown on the screen, or you can scan the QR code. So thank you to our speakers. We'll just go really quickly to the poll. We're just going to find out a little bit more about our audience. All right. So I will begin it now. Okay, we're starting with the first question. So very generally, excuse me, just for our audience, we're wondering where you are from, if you're from within an EU country or from outside the EU. Right, we have most of those participating in the EU. Just wait a couple more seconds, maybe someone else will add. All right, yes, okay, so I think the overwhelming majority from the EU. Okay, we've got two more questions quickly here. Next question is related to what kind of company or organization profile do you represent? So you can choose one or more answer if you like, but the options are construction company, EU project, construction association, IT services, or other. Okay, so we have largely from project. Okay, and also IT services, and someone also from construction. All right, thank you. Okay, and then we'll go to the very final question, which is also about your position. So what position do you hold within your company? All right, we have some project managers or coordinators, a few specialists, researcher, and one other. All right, I think that maybe everyone has participated. All right, thank you so much. Okay. All right, so I think we will wrap up now. We have just a couple minutes before the end. We're in great time today. So we will firstly say a big thank you to all the speakers and also to the audience for joining us today for today's webinar. I'll remind you again that you'll be able to find the recording of today's webinar on the BuildUp portal and also on our YouTube channel in just a few days, together with the presentation slides. You can visit the COGITO project website. On the screen you'll see here, we have cogito-project.eu to find out more. And also you can check out the social media. So they have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and also YouTube. Also with the name or the handle that you can find them at. Then also a reminder that actually the COGITO project will be present in Sustainable Places at the Sustainable Places Conference in Madrid. And they will present the platform again on the 15th of June at 9 o'clock. So if you want to follow up with the project again at Sustainable Places, you're welcome to. So a big thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you at the next webinar of the COGITO series. It will be held at the end of June, and it will be the 4th webinar in the series, in the current series, and it will once again be hosted by BuildUp. So we're looking forward to that. More information is coming soon, so keep an eye out for it on the BuildUp portal. You can check out our events section for that. So we wish you all a very pleasant end to your week. Thank you and goodbye. Thanks to the speakers.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.